Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Commodity TV and a new edition of our virtual online interview series. And for the first time, we want to talk to Southern Empire Resources, and Dale Wallster, the CEO, is here with us. Hey, good morning. How are you doing?
Good morning. It's a beautiful day here in Vancouver.
Super. Same here.
Not raining for a change.
That's perfect. Yeah, here in St. Gallen also, it's beautiful in Switzerland. And yeah, it looks good. Gold is on the right path for rising prices. You have a very interesting company. We met each other some weeks ago. I think it was during the Mines and Money exploration pitch battle, which I had the honor to moderate. And it was for me also great introduction into your company. And I think it's worthwhile that we really introduce you to our viewers here. You guys are exploring in California, and your most important project, or let's call it the main focus, is the Oro Cruz project, right? And so maybe you can give our viewers a short overview on the company, where you're located, what are you doing there, and then we dive into your project.
Cool. So the company, Southern Empire Resources, we trade on the TSX Venture Exchange. We are listed on the Frankfurt bourse and over the counter. We're a very young company. We came into being by way of a qualifying transaction with a capital pool company on the Venture Exchange. That closed in early 2020, and our first day of trading was March 24th of 2020. So we've been around for only about a little over a year. Our focus is the Oro Cruz project in southeastern California. Oro Cruz is a very interesting and I believe very good, primarily gold project, although there are other minerals present on the property, including kyanite, which is an industrial mineral, but that's separate aside. Oro Cruz, our focus is on the gold and the exploration and development of the property. There's a historical resource estimate of about 340,000 ounces at 2.2 grams. The property is located about 15 miles away from the operating gold mine, Mesquite gold mine of Equinox Gold. We've got a lot of exploration planned. Unfortunately, we're in California and permitting reigns supreme, and there's no bones about that.
Yeah.
It is what it is, and we're actively working our way through the permitting process, and we believe that as long as we dot our I's and cross our T's and do everything that we need to do, that we'll ultimately get all the permits we need to fully explore, develop, and hopefully ultimately produce gold from our Oro Cruz project.
Okay, so the plan is really to go with that later than in production, maybe in some years. That's interesting. Okay, so not only exploration.
Well, listen, in an ideal world, the explorationist, the great desire is to be taken over by somebody else, right? Because we tend to be good at what we do, and that's exploration. Mm-hmm. But you really have to move forward with any project that you have. You have to say, well, what if nobody takes us over? What are we going to do then?
Yeah, plan B, right?
The reality is you have to move these projects forward, and as you're moving them forward, you have to do certain things that you may not have a great desire to do, but need to get done. You need to de-risk the project by ticking off those boxes. Things like environmental studies, things like, economic studies. Look, in the exploration world, you drill holes, and investors like drill results. They don't like to hear that you're out there studying tortoises, doing stones and bones and bees and bunnies studies. Because what does that get them? Well, what it does get them, it gets you closer to to ultimate production. It de-risks the project so that if you do have something there, and we believe that at our Oro Cruz project, ultimately we'll be able to find more than 1 million ounces, then perhaps we do get taken over, and we become a much better takeover target for every one of those boxes that we can stick the check mark in and say,
okay. Then let's talk about straightforward about the exploration. So what are the objectives, let's say, for this year? What do you want to do? I saw also in your press releases that you gave an exploration update also on the permitting. So what is, let's say, the status there? I think you have to do the permitting with the BLM, right? Bureau of Land Management in California, and as far as I know, it is something which is like it is a straightforward process, but it takes time, of course. So for, let's say, how many meters do you want to permit? How many drill pads can you do? And how long does the permit exist?
Right. So we have very extensive exploration plans for our property, and our property is a little different in that it covers different designations of land. Part of our property is patented claims. Part of our property is just BLM administered claims. Part of our property occurs in what's known as an area of critical environmental concern. So with each of these different categories of property, for lack of a better way of putting it, there are different permitting requirements. For the bulk of our currently planned Oro Cruz exploration, our major exploration efforts, we need a full-blown exploration plan of operations, and that is administered by the Bureau of Land Management, on behalf of the United States federal government, the Department of the Interior. We need California is such a special place that you need additional permitting for the state of California and Imperial County, the county in which we our Oro Cruz project sits. So we do have some permits that we are currently amending that will allow us to go in and continue our sonic drill program on the existing historical heap leach pads. And the bulk of our planned exploration, as I say, we've completed so the stones and bones and bugs and bunnies. Well, we're in the process of completing those. Our goal is to have our exploration plan of operations permitting that will allow us to establish 65 surface drill pads. It'll allow us to establish a laydown area in front of the existing underground workings to allow us to get underground and explore from underground. And it'll allow us the appropriate access roads to and from the underground and the drill pads. Our goal is to have that permitting in place so that we can mobilize our exploration efforts October or November of this year. In the meantime, we are continuing with our sonic drilling of the existing leach pads. We just completed some ground geophysical studies that are off to the geophysicists to interpret and draw all kinds of drill here X's on fancy maps and such. We continue our we've just submitted some samples to metallurgical labs for some initial metallurgical testing to help steer us in the right direction. So we're very active with respect to our programs. It's just that we're not there for the big program yet.
So what what does that mean then? The big program, meaning for what, let's say, how many meters you are now doing the permit, or is there, let's say, is there a fixed meterage, or can you say like, okay, we have the permit, and then we can go full throttle 10, 20, 50,000 meters?
Well, we'll have the permit for 65 drill pads, and we haven't sat down and calculated each of the. I mean, on any one of those drill pads, we could end up drilling a number of holes in different angles and such. One of the key things with this permitting, though, is to allow us to get underground, and we have about 3 some odd kilometers of existing underground workings. They're in absolutely pristine shape. They were developed in the early 1990s to access the underground at the cross deposit on the Oro Cruz property. If you go to our website, smp.gold, www.smp.gold, there's a terrific flyby that shows quite a number of the historical drill holes and how they relate to the high-grade underground zone that was only in production for a very short period of time before the American Gold Mining joint venture shut down operations in 1996. As gold prices were declining, I think gold ultimately hit, what, 255
yeah.
in the 90s. So, the American Gold Mining joint venture was at the end, it was a company that, a joint venture that was Hecla and Morrison Knudsen, both very large American firms. Hecla, everybody knows Hecla. And Morrison Knudsen was a mining, a construction engineering firm that I think actually built the Hoover Dam at one point in its company's history. So, us to get underground and be able to explore from underground is critical. But in order to do that, we need to have the permits for the surface facilities. And that is absolutely one of the keys that we're working on.
Yeah, super. So we keep fingers crossed that you get it really fast. Do you also have in your ownership, let's say, the old drill core, the old data, the old mapping, all those kind of things?
Unfortunately, there isn't a single piece of, there weren't many core holes drilled. There were a lot of reverse circulation holes drilled. We have data, but we have no historical cuttings from the reverse circulation holes. We have none of the historical core. None of that exists. We don't have any of the assay lab rejects or pulps or any of that. But we believe this data to be very good data, given it was generated by very good people, including at one point in time Newmont, because Newmont in the 1970s were the first company involved in this area, and they developed what they then call a mineable reserve, and they sold it to Adolf Lundin's Eastmac Gold Mines, and then he brought in Morrison Knudsen, and then Eastmac became Ross Beatty's original Equinox Resources, and then he got taken over by Hecla. So a whole chain of really good people, good companies.
Super. Let's talk about a little bit on the infrastructure you have, because you are not that far, as you said, not that far away from Mesquite. You are in California. I could imagine that you have a very favorable infrastructure, and when you get the permit, you can go next day full throttle, right?
Yeah, we are 15 miles as the crow flies away from Mesquite, the Mesquite gold mine, and Mesquite produced over, what was it? I want to say 140 some odd thousand ounces last year. So it's a major open pit heap leach gold operation 15 miles away. We're 15 miles away from Yuma, the city of Yuma, Arizona. It's on the California-Arizona border. Yuma is a city of 100,000 people. We are, we have a high voltage power line crosses our property. There's good access to the property. There's don't forget, this was a producing mine that shut down in the 1990s.
Okay, super. Okay, so as we have to wait for the drill permits, unfortunately, let's talk about another interesting asset I saw. You have an equity interest in Augusta Gold. How did that come?
Yeah, we do. So as part of the qualifying transaction, an equity interest in, at the time, Bullfrog Gold, now Augusta Gold, was vended into the company. And it was a large position in Bullfrog Gold. It is now a much smaller position in Augusta, but that's okay because the share price has increased considerably. Augusta Gold is a Richard Wark company. Barrick are a big shareholder. They have a tremendous property just across the California border in Nevada, and they're moving forward with plans to ultimately bring that into production. And I wouldn't be surprised if it's not one of the next gold producers in the state of Nevada. It's not a core holding as such, but we believe that it will give us the opportunity for non-dilutive financing of our efforts.
Fantastic. So this brings me, of course, to the really important question. As we know, exploration costs money, that is for sure. And if you want to drill, you have to spend money. So what is cash in the bank? What is, let's say, the Augusta shares? What are they worth? Meaning, what liquid assets you approximately have? And of course, I would love to hear about your share registry.
So I calculated it this morning. Augusta's at about 225 Canadian a share. We have about $1.8 million in the bank. So our working capital position, including our Augusta shares, is approximately $6.8 million. We have 51 million shares approximately issued and outstanding. Majority of that is held by people that are very either insiders or as my friend Ron Nedlitsky says, friends and lovers of insiders. Yeah, so we're a pretty tightly held company, and actually, just let me peer at another screen for a second here, if you don't mind.
I think you have the Wallster family is over 10%, correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
So that's your family, right?
Yeah, it's myself and my family. Ron Nedlitsky's Eros Resources hold about close to 19%.
Yeah.
So Andy Davidson and Ron Nedlitsky are big shareholders through Eros. So we have, I want to point out, of the 51 million shares that are issued and outstanding, there are 33 million that are free trading. And of those 33 million, there's about 9.7 million of those that are real close to us. So effectively, there's 23 million shares that are, for lack of a better word, the float. And since March 24th of 2020, we have traded close to 31 million shares.
Wow, that's pretty nice. That's a good liquid volume.
Yeah, and we really took 2020 treated us. Oh, it was rude to us. We took some huge lumps in 2020, and if you look at our share price chart, we've been busy building a base for it seems like forever. Where we are.
Yeah, we know this could happen with exploration companies, but all of a sudden it goes boom, right?
Yeah, I think I'd like to think that we're a tightly coiled spring waiting for that moment of release.
Super, perfect. Last question. I saw a project, American Girl. I like the name of the project. What's up with that?
Well, American Girl and Padre Madre and American Boy are all components of our overall Oro Cruz project. So the Oro Cruz project covers three separate, distinct mining areas or deposit areas. An American Girl, American Boy is one area. Padre Madre is another, and then the Oro Cruz is the third.
Mhm.
So all three of those are former producers. All three of those produced as recently as the 1990s, mid 1990s.
Super. So that means there is also good access, and let's say you maybe have some data, or let's put it that way, you know already where maybe some gold would be found the easier way.
Well, I can tell you that if you go to that flyby on our website and take a look at that, and take a look at some of the high-grade drill results, the high-grade drill results that are historical drill results, but as I say, that was work done by very, very reputable companies.
Mm-hmm.
We can't wait to get in and expand the exploration efforts, defining and looking for more of that high grade.
Okay, super. That was a great final sentence, Dale. Thank you very much. Really impressive, insight into your company, I must say. And let's hope that you get your permit soon. That would be great.
I think we will. It's a matter of persevering and doing all of the things that they require you to do.
Exactly, which have to be done. Super. Okay, hey, all the best. Thank you very much. And I have a very good feeling that we talk then after the summer probably again. And please let us know when the drills are turning.
I look forward to it, and we'll hopefully talk to you very soon.
Super. Thank you very much, Dale. All the best. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, that was Dale Wallster, the CEO of Southern Empire Resources, and you heard it. Gold in California. They are, digging, not yet, but they are digging for the permitting, and it looks like that the permitting should come within the next months. They hope to start the drilling by October, November latest this year. That would be great, as this world needs definitely more gold. But I love the fact that they have a fantastic infrastructure. They are only 15 miles away from the Mesquite mine, which is favorable. As we know, Mesquite is getting a bit low of ore, so probably there might be some fantasy for the future here. And also I like the fact that really the CEO and friends and family control a big chunk of the company, so they have skin in the game. They have their own money into this company. And I think I would suggest you check out the company. They have enough money to drill. That is also really important, and we look forward to some exciting results. Thanks for watching us, and bye-bye from Switzerland.